Hey, it's your girl Jeray Speaks, and welcome to today's episode of Mend the Vow podcast. I am here to help you grow, persevere by sharing my triumphs and my struggles in life, both before and after the vow. A lot of times we choose to eliminate things from our story because we don't want to see the dirtiness inside of us after God has refined us. But we don't want others to see us that way either. So I am here to be your big sister, your auntie, your niece, your friend, anything that I can be to hold your hand as I filter through life in these mini episodes to let you know that you are not alone and that God is here with you. So grab your favorite cup of beverage, whatever that may be. Mine is coffee. Grab a notepad and something to write with, whether it be a pen, pencil, or on your iPad or on your Google Chromebook that has a pen, whatever you are notating from. Make sure that you bring you wisdom, knowledge that is from God so that you can hear everything that God has for you. Let's get into today's episode of Mend the Vow podcast. Hey, it's your girl Jeray Speaks, and welcome to another episode of Mend the Vow podcast. In this episode, we'll be talking about, is it time to divorce your career? I have been really sitting on this for a hot minute because I've been going over and over again with this question back and forth in my mind. Is it time for me to jump fully back into my business and divorce my career? So let's jump into today's episode of Mend the Vow podcast. So, as some of you may know, I am a career coach for the state of Illinois. I work with a private organization, and it has really been one of the challenging times in my career. Although that I'm thankful, it has its set time of frustration and rules that are literally sometimes grueling. But all in all, I am thankful for my career. But there's a but. When I launched my marketing business, I really had a chance to really dive in head first. And I learned some stuff, and then I also had to be rerouted. And since 2007, I've learned a whole bunch of stuff. I learned when to go into work and when to run my business in full effect. And with every growing pain, you have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding in each space that it serves your life. And so the quality of control in running my own business really defines where I'm headed. I'm passionate, I'm resilient, I'm structured. Versus my career, it's lacking some things that out of my control I can't fix, but I can only voice my opinion. And there's a sting behind everything. If I bring up something, there's a sting. Um, because I like to know why are there holes in the system, right? And the reason why I titled this particular episode, Is It Time to Divorce Your Career, is because over the last month, I did my due diligence. I went over and over again in my mindset, and I said, is it time for me to just quit my career, get a part-time job, and just work in my business? Although money does have to be saved up to do this, I got this. But I really had to look at some stuff. What would I be letting go? You have to look at the things that you are willing to sacrifice in order to be more present in your business. You have to take care of your basic necessities, making sure that you can cover your rent, making sure that you can cover your car payment, making sure you can cover your office rent if you have one, making sure that your hygiene essentials is taken care of, and also your food. And whatever other important bills that you have, like health insurance and yada, yada, yada. You have to make sure that you have at least 6 months to a year worth of savings. And with that, it's a go. Or you can blindly have faith and do it and just allow God to lead you if that is your call to do that. Now, if not, you want to use provision in this hour. You want to pray that God will steer you the correct way. So here's my story in a nutshell. So as I stated, I did go back and forth with the notion in my mind, "What, Dre, is it time to leave this job?" And I was literally looking for other jobs. I really was like, okay, well, what is it that I want to do that's not going to be strenuous, that is not going to take me out of the motivational aspect of really jumping back into this sector of my business. So I applied to numerous jobs and I got a good lead on all of them and a lot of yeses and a lot of start dates. But overall, the father kept shutting them down. And it was nothing that I did. And when you know that it's not time to leave yet, every door will quietly close. When you know that you have the qualifications of them, you have a start date. I was going for something else that I'm trained in. And I said, okay, well, maybe if I just do, mental health and life coaching on the side at this particular organization, that would just help me still stay in my skill set level in something else. And then I can just, work full time in my business. So my scheduling time was going to be from Thursday until Sunday. And I was going to be part time and it was still going to meet every aspect that I needed. Nothing was going to be turned off, nothing was going to be limited. And so I was cool with that. I would take an increase of my pay cut, but I was okay with that because just the thought of me being able to create more content, get things out there efficiently instead of working the hours between 8:30 to 5 o'clock is like so grueling and draining when you know your heart posture is not there anymore. And so with that, I had to think about what I would be scaling in my personal life and what I would be gaining in my professional life just to have the freedom to own my own time. And so when I started to look at these things, it really started to impact my desire even more to be thrilled. But I had to settle in some spaces. God, is this your correct timing? God, if it's not, show me. And so I started to just talk to God even more. And in bits and pieces, He was just, rerouting my mindset. I even got advice from my leader, which is my mentor too, Apostle Kimberly Collins. I love you because she always keeps it so genuine and so real. And so I even talked to just other people, my good sister in Christ, Brittany Rhodes. I also talked to my good brother in Christ, Prophet Eric Thompson. I'm sorry. And so when I began to just, get some good advice because a lot of times we can think that we're steering ourselves in the correct direction when God is pumping the brakes. And so when I started seeing these signs of, you know, the job saying, hey, we're not accepting any more starts of new hires right now. We'll let you know when you'll start. That was sign number one because I already had got my start date initially with this one job and it was ready to go. And I said, okay, and when it was ready to go, I had in my mind, okay, I'm going to leave my job. I'm going to do everything that is going to be beneficial for my business. And God said, okay. I guess He was looking at me like, oh, you think you got this, huh? And I was so determined. And I was all like, because to me, I'm all like, well, Lord, I don't want to overburden myself. How am I supposed to just be this creative person that you have created me to create all this content and also to help the fivefold ministry, also to help establish visions and brands that you are sending my way to help push out? How am I supposed to do all this when I am working a full detailed job that is covering most of my day? And then to top it off, I don't get to the house or the office until like 6:30. I said, God, I need grace. And so with that, it has everything to do with the rerouting of my schedule, how much time I am going to pour into that. When I get off work, before I go to work, and even sacrificing my weekend because the grind is real. And once you are on the grind, there's no excuses and there's no limitations. So I had to really sit in this heart posture and say, God, is it time? And even in asking him that, I knew potentially that it could be a no. I knew in my heart of hearts that it could be, oh, stay there for a while. So I want to focus on what reassured me that it was not time to divorce my career and go back into full time of my business just quite yet. So I was in Walgreens and I was printing up some pictures of me and my coworker. Shout out to Huma Johnson. You are so great. She keeps me on my toes in a lot of ways that she doesn't know. So we were the prior weekends before we were sitting in Starbucks and we were taking some pictures. And I got some really cool pictures of us. Her daughter took some amazing pictures, and I went to go get them printed out because I feel like it is so important to keep yourself surrounded with positivity, especially when you are making decisions. And it's always good to have, friendly faces um, in your space. So I was just getting some pictures printed, and I ran into this woman, and she was very quiet, but she was having difficulty of changing her pictures. She had an iPhone, and every time she would take pictures, it would come in this other format. I think it's like a H something, a HCX format. And I was telling her how to convert it to a JPEG or a PNG. And she was like, okay. And I told her the steps. I said, either you can download a third party app off of, the App Store because she uses Mac, or you can do it in Canva. And she was like, okay, well, thank you. And out of nowhere, she gave me this Psalms from the Bible. And I looked at her. I said, okay, that was the first one. I said, okay, this is outside confirmation. I didn't never see this lady before in my entire life. And I said, okay. A few days later, I'm in 7-Eleven getting my coffee. And I'm talking to the cashier. And there were some things that were going on with the creamer. I guess the pump didn't work. And she was just like, "Give me a minute, I'll get to you in a second." I said, "Okay." And at this point, I was already like, I got the other creamer, so it wasn't a big deal. And so I spent like maybe 5 to 10 minutes in there talking to her. And we were talking about, loss and grief because we all have faced some challenges. She had lost her mother 4 years prior, and I just had laid my mother to rest in 2021. And she looks at me and she says, out of the blue, "Stay at your job for one more year." Oh, okay, God. I hear you talking, and I'm not going to disengage of what you're saying, although I think what I wanted was sufficient, but God, you know what's best for me. And I have to be honest, I was taken back, but I was also irritable because I'm like, I can just run into the heart of my business and be safe. But what I'm coming to know about myself is I need more structure and time management because I have a lot on my plate to do in my career and also in my business. So, again, I posed the question to myself: is it time to divorce your career? And right now, I have to settle this in my heart. No, it's not time for me to divorce my career and go solely full time into my business. Although I love what I do in my career, sometimes it can be challenging, as I said. But I have to learn how to just give myself grace. And even when I feel like things are falling apart, I have to still advocate for myself, and I still have to advocate for the things that matter in the program. And in doing so, I have to know that everything that I am facing in this time in my life is overall structuring me to come into the flow of being full time in my business and gaining more success and structure in my business and getting those clients that God will send to me to sustain everything that I know to do for them. And I said, okay, and I had to really take this stuff. I said, okay, God, show me how to use my time effectively for you, for the things that you have called me to do. And this was a struggle because I was like, okay, I have this. And then he started just revealing, Jerry, you need more time management in your personal life. in your career, in your business. And he whispered in my ear, he said, and even for your self-care. He said, you don't always need to be in the office. You need to learn how to live outside of the office, outside of your career. And just those very things touch my heart, that God cares enough about the little things that I don't care to take about, or not that I don't care to take about in concerning myself, but he's just he's just letting me know that I need to stop and care for myself and not always be so busy in the shuffle of career business. So, learning this new thing right now, because I say new thing because it's fresh, it's new, and I want to stay on the right track and be focused and stay in the place where God desires me to be versus where I want to be. And so, this is where I'm planted. This is where I am structured, and this is where I have to keep my face before God like a flint so that I don't move in my own timing, so that I can allow Him to keep leading me in all things. It's just not about being a overcomer in time management, but it's also accepting that it's okay to be where I am. It's okay not to be full time in my business right now. Maybe I need to focus on what's needed in my career versus what I want in my business right now. And even though it's a stretch, I trust God. I do. I trust Him. I trust Him for the overflow. I trust Him for walking me through this strenuous time that I think that I can't handle. I am focused enough to trust Him, even when I break down and cry when He says, "It's not time, daughter." I have to be fully aware that I can trust Him with my career, with the structure of my business, and with even pouring out the level of expertise that I do hold. Um, what reminds me of everything is when the Father tells us in His Word that the race is not given to the swift nor the strong, but the one that endures to the end. And also, 2 Thessalonians 5 and 17 says that we are to pray without ceasing. And so, in all things, I know that I have to understand that it's not a no, it's just not right now. Not right now, daughter. Not right now. And I'm accepting that. So, in the conclusion, I know that God is handling everything for me. Excuse me. And I'm okay with that. So I pray that this episode of Mend the Vow podcast has blessed you, has rerouted your thoughts to the topic. Is it time to divorce your career? I pray that you allow God to satisfy your heart and that He will reveal everything in His timing. God bless you all. I thank you for rocking out with me on this episode of Mend the Vow podcast. I will see you on the next one.